My name is EWright, and from a young age, I've been fascinated by the natural world. In third grade, my teacher, Mrs. Flora, started a recycling program just for our class. And we could bring in plastic bottles, glass bottles, and aluminum cans, and she would take them to the recycling center for us. It really important to me to start thinking about what I could do to help preserve the environment for future generations. Time for me to choose a government school topic, I really I had a whole mixture of ideas at first, and finally I don't really have a lot of experience in prior to, but that I plan to pursue in the fall at Virginia Tech at college. So I chose environmental education and its impact on the public because, as I said, I didn't have a lot of prior experience in it, but this project had an overwhelmingly positive impact on teaching me about environmental education and how it impacts the public. So the first part of my project that I tackled was my internship. I got the opportunity to work with the chief ranger of Lake Anna State Park, Lori Schuler. And when we were first trying to schedule a date for the internship, she was extremely prompt with me. Both of our schedules were very busy, and the only time that I could work there was on weekends. So she was really helpful to me in just being flexible, and we finally worked out a time. And when I finally met her, she was obviously passionate about her position at Lake Anna, and also she was passionate about the state park system in general. She truly believed that it's a quality education tool for the public about their local environments, and it really changes people's perspectives about the environment into a positive one. So when I finally got to do my internship, I worked at the visitor center at Lake Anna State Park for 2 days. And the first day showed me just how busy they get there because unfortunately all of the rangers were absent working a festival that the park was hosting except for one. And this didn't really matter too much because he was really helpful. He showed me the ropes in the visitor center. And the most impressive thing that they have there is this display in the back where they have pelts of local wildlife, preserved insects and plants. And they also have three live rescued animals. They have two snakes and a turtle. And so that was a really impressive part of the visitor center itself. On my second day, it was much more eventful for me because all of the rangers were present, and I got to participate in three programs that they were running that day. Panning for Gold, Turtle Time, and Skunks for Supper. The most impactful of these was Skunks for Supper because the initial informational part of the program was about owls. And owls actually eat skunks, which I did not know prior to the program. But after she taught us about that and taught us more about owls, we got to do a hands-on part of the program, and I got to work with Natalie, who you see pictured here, and we were all given owl pellets, which are actually regurgitated balls of fur and bones of whatever the owl has eaten. And it's really interesting that owls have this unique ability because you can gather the owl pellets and you can actually dissect them to see what the owl has eaten. You can look at the bones and compare them to the bones of animals and see what it is they've eaten. So Natalie was really squeamish at first about this idea of the owl pellet. She didn't really want to have anything to do with it, but I was interested in it because I've never gotten to do this before. So I was picking out the different bones and I was trying to identify them. And finally, as you can see, she got on board and she started getting her hands in there and helping me out. So I think that this really says something about the impact that state parks have on people like Natalie. They change what might have been a negative view about the environment to a positive one. So my work at Lake Anna helped me find a research topic. My paper was on the failures and successes of environmental education. And I got the wonderful opportunity to work with a woman named Paige Hutchinson, who is the head of a program called Project Learning Tree. And she's the head in Virginia, I should have said. And Project Learning Tree is actually a national, spreading into international level program that provides teachers, volunteers. They don't have to come to this, but they provide workshops for teachers and then give them materials to help them incorporate environmental lessons into their everyday curriculum. And this idea of teacher-based learning actually, I found this in my later research as a success of environmental education, partially because it's voluntary, so you don't have some of the failures of environmental education that I found, where teachers are sometimes forced to incorporate more environmental lessons, but they may not have any prior experience in that field and they may not want to. So Project Learning Tree is actually a very successful program. And another part of Project Learning Tree that Paige advocated as a success of environmental education is place-based education. And this is an idea of instead of sending kids out on faraway field trips where they might have to spend a little extra money to go on them, and also they might not get to spend as much time at the locations that they're going to, instead of doing that, taking them to local areas such as parks or your local recycling center to teach them about community environments and seeing those things in action. And also by sending them to a recycling center, they can see the different methods that we use to help prevent environmental degradation. And going to those places that are nearby makes it more relevant to their lives. So I took this idea of place-based education and incorporated it into my community service project. I actually planted a small pollinator garden. It's actually right behind me through those trees at the high school. And I wanted to do this because I thought that having an on-site learning tool, an actual garden to attract pollinators, would really benefit the science department at the high school, and also give the students here a recreational, hands-on tool to see their local environments in action. So when I first began this project, I researched native Virginia plants that would attract pollinators, especially butterflies. And I found that many of them are actually in my backyard. And I went out over a period of a few days, not a few days, a few weeks really, spreading into months. And I waited until the plants that I researched started forming seed pods. And I waited until they dried out enough that I could collect them. And then I actually hand separated the seeds from their pods. And this process was extremely fun. I was involved, and also I got some of my classmates involved. And I think we all really enjoyed seeing the different types of casings that the seeds come in and how this affects their location in the environment and their roles in the environment. So after I got all the seeds separated, I did a little bit of research on when to plant. And I actually found that planting after the first frost of winter was the best time to put these seeds in the ground. And this is a process called cold shocking. It allows the seeds to get in the ground in the winter, so that if we have a random warm day, which is highly likely in our recent climate, the plants won't grow and then get killed by another cold, when the cold weather comes back in. And it actually allows them to only grow when it's the right time of year and they have the right temperatures outside, the right soil climates, and moisture levels. And this gives them a much higher chance of surviving and thriving later on. So after I found out about the cold shocking process, I waited until after the first frost of winter. And I went back here. The plot is right beside the pond that's behind the high school. And I tilled up a small area of land, and I planted the seeds in a linear formation. I planted seeds from plants such as milkweed towards the part of the plot that was closer to the pond, because they like more moist soil, and I planted seeds that like drier soil, such as black-eyed Susans and bee balm, towards the top level of the pond, so that later when they start to grow, they're already in their right soil environments. And after I got seeds in the ground, I started thinking about what I could do to continue this project in the future for the legacy portion of my project. And I'm very excited to say that after collaborating with some of the teachers at the high school, their classes actually will be continuing the garden in the future. I gave a presentation to a few different classes. It was 2 ecology classes and an AP environmental science class here at the high school. And I told them about how they would be reharvesting the seeds in the fall and then replanting them in a plot next to the one that I already planted. So eventually this garden will cover most of the hillside by the pond. And this will really expand the opportunity to see their local environments in action and just give a really cool way for them to learn about their local insects and pollinators and see what kind of things we can attract. This project has had an overwhelmingly positive impact on me. As I said earlier, it's forced me to grow into more of an adult because I know how to write formal emails now. I know how to talk to people that I didn't know prior to my internship. I actually, none of my mentors or my interviewee were reached through networking. Actually, Paige Hutchinson, Miss Jackowitz did know Paige. Sorry about that. But my mentor, I found these people basically for myself, and I had to communicate with them in a very formal way, as I did not know them prior to my experience. So learning how to talk to those people and reach out to them is definitely going to help me in the future. It's already helping me now in some of my endeavors. And also just getting this experience with environmental science and environmental education has been wonderful, and I definitely plan to pursue this in the fall, in the future. So before I finish up, I want to extend a special thanks to my mentor, Ms. Lori Schuler. She was so passionate about her job, and she was very prompt with me in the beginning. And also my interviewee, Paige Hutchinson, she was a wealth of information to me. She was so interesting to talk to. And many of her failures and successes in environmental education that she mentioned in my interview showed up in my later research, which was really kind of astounding. And also, finally, my advisor, Ms. Jackowitz, she's just been wonderful through this whole process. I don't think any of us would have gotten through these projects without her help. So thank you all for your time today. Are there any questions? Yeah. I also put some coreopsis flowers in the garden, and I also had a different species of milkweed called butterfly weed, which is in my first slide. I won't go all the way back there, but it was the orange flowers that you saw with the small orange butterfly on them. Yes? I will share that. So one of the best parts about, I'll show you, I'll go back to the slide, going through the seeds was that the milkweed seeds are actually, they're in these pretty large pods, about this big, and the seeds inside are all attached to these little tufts of white fluff, and you can see these flying through the air sometimes during certain seasons. So I had this huge box of milkweed seed pods, and I think I originally just started going through them by myself, but eventually some of my classmates wandered over during class time, and they were like, "Whoa, what are these white things that are floating around the room?" And so I went through tons and tons of these seeds, and we gathered huge trash bags full of the white fluff, and it was just really fun working with it because it was soft and it flew everywhere and it made a huge mess. And after we collected it all in the end, we went outside and really stood into the wind, and it was really fun. Yes.
The owl pellets. Mm-hmm. And the bones that you could get from those.
Yes.
What do you compare them to be able to tell what the owl has eaten?
So actually at Lake Anna, we just had little sheets of paper with different pictures of bones of certain animals. And actually, I forgot to mention this. I have a partially dissected owl pellet here for you all to look at. And it's really not gross. I don't know, you might think it's a little bit gross, but there are a couple of bones that I already picked out of here. So like this one, and I'm not able to identify them just by looking at them because I didn't spend too much time with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the bones that you find in these are still intact. And I have 3 fresh ones over there if you guys want to mess with them when the presentations are over. I don't know if you would like to do that, but yes, you're welcome to look at that. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. We don't have an owl here. Yes.
Erica, I may have missed this. So you're going to go to tech, and do you plan to pursue environmental education?
Actually, I'm not sure what field of environmental science that I'm going to go into right now. I know that I'm entering straight into the College of Natural Resources and Environment, and I'm going in undecided so that I can kind of get a taste of everything that they have available there and later decide my major.
Well, your passion for your subject really shows through. I appreciate
Thank you
that. And
so
your
much.
legacy project truly is a legacy.
Thank you.
It's great.
Yeah. Not quite yet. It's still pretty early in the spring season, and many of the flowers are summer and late summer and early fall flowers when they bloom. So they haven't sprouted yet, but I've been checking it pretty regularly because I'm in the AP Environmental Science class actually, and we go down there pretty frequently. So I'm hoping to see some growth soon. Yes.
Are you watering these flowers yourselves, or are you letting rain and stuff do that for you?
We're not watering them ourselves because they're wildflowers, so they really don't need any extra care. And I don't think I mentioned this earlier. I didn't put any fertilizers in the soil or anything because they are wildflowers, so they should be able to thrive on their own.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you so much.